Hi, Butch. It's KJ. I'm here with Geek Fives Nation. Excited to talk with you today.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah. So, speaking of excitement for for you, Butch, you put a lot of work and obviously a lot of love into this whole thing. We got part three out now, Crisis on Infinite Earths. How are you feeling knowing that it's out there, knowing that the complete trilogy is there for everybody to see?
Well, yeah, I think it's great finally because in the first two there was a lot of questions and
Hmm.
some of the critics basically kind of didn't see where we were going with it, or they thought it was some things were kind of weak, this or that. But I hope part three helps to kind of clear that hurdle and show, okay, as a whole film, as a story, it works pretty well.
You've been doing this obviously a very long time, but does it ever does that pressure of the critics and trying to adapt these stories and these characters that are so beloved into a story that fits right now and still being somewhat true to the comics, does it ever just get exhausting for you?
Um, no, for me, because I don't really, I'm not on the internet a lot as far as Facebook or anything like that. So I don't hear half the vitriol, more than half than what probably the director and Jim Krieg do, because they're on X and all the other platforms. I don't hear any of it, and I'm glad for it. So it doesn't affect me one way or the other.
Good for you. And working specifically on this project, you did have, was it 12 issues, right? That we are working from trying to fit into these movies, and
Yeah.
there were characters that you really needed to bring through, because of the Tomorrowverse. How fun was it for you to kind of weave some of that together? Because you really did have to, take some turns and create some characters into the storyline.
Yeah, when Jim was working out the story, what we could do to merge the, Tomorrowverse with the Crisis books, it was definitely all right. We need it on it. It can't be changed. We definitely need Flash. We need Supergirl, and Psycho Pirate, because they're all important elements to the whole story. And then the other characters, obviously the main Justice League, and everything secondary became like, okay, Pariah was important, obviously, but he was a non-character before in the DC universe, same as Harbinger. So
Hmm.
what could we do to make those characters fit with where we are, this in our Tomorrowverse? So Supergirl became Harbinger, and Constantine ultimately became Pariah in its own way. So yeah, again, we kind of used most of the existing DC characters how they worked in the Crisis story, but we had to pull some, change some characters and or mold one or two characters' storylines into one character, just on the basis of how it would work with where we were with our storyline and how we would end up in Crisis.
When you started thinking about, I mean, this cast is absolutely incredible, and I am a longtime Supernatural fan, and we have all wanted Jensen Ackles to be Batman for
Yeah,
a long time. So,
yeah.
can you talk a little bit about, going back to the beginning when you were shaping these characters? Were you thinking, you know, Jensen as Batman? Did you have, did you have Meg in mind? Were there some of those people that you were like, we've got to get these particular actors to help bring this together?
Yeah, I mean, that was with Wes's help. But Jensen Ackles was on our first list with one or two other guys that were Batman, thoughts of being Batman. But Jensen was mainly, a tough our line producer, Angelo Sullivan, was a big fan of Supernatural, and Kim Moreau liked Jensen also. And so I went, all right, let me listen, because I watched maybe the first or second season of Supernatural, then maybe dropped off. So I don't remember what his voice was. I mean, I could have looked it up, but I wanted to see what his voice was today, how he's grown into it. So definitely once Wes pulled a few recent Jensen acting choices, I went, yeah, okay, he's Batman, perfect. And the same with some of the other characters, Darren Criss. We always, that was another choice that Wes had in mind because of some of the work he did a few years ago, back 7 years ago, when he became noted beyond Glee. And then, Matt Bomer, he was always a good choice for Flash because he has that human voice, and it went down the line like that. So generally, it was picking. There was about usually 3 or 4 choices down the road here or there, and it became okay. Well, this is the best choice for this character. For me, it was like, well, that's when I hear his voice in my head. When I'm reading a comic or something, that's what Batman or Green Lantern or so-and-so should sound like.
Did you, Butch, just to kind of talk about your personal life a little bit? I mean, we all, just have associated you with DC and the amazing work that you've done. Did you grow up a comic book fan? Is this what you thought as a youngster you would want to do when you grew up?
Yeah. Absolutely. I've been buying comics when my mom has since I was like 4 years old. So, yeah, I've been collecting and reading and all of them all my life. So, I wanted to be a comic book artist.
Okay.
But I was on the wrong coast at the time. Back then, before you had internet and everything, it was hard to get a job at DC or Marvel unless you actually moved to New York. So, luckily for me, in this side on the West Coast, there was animation. So I got into animation as a storyboard artist and director, but always thinking, all right, you know what, though, maybe this really isn't my career. I should try to still get into comics. But eventually, I just felt, nah, you know what, been doing animation. After the 10th year, my attitude changed. I'm like, nah, this is my career. Forget comics, even though I love comics. It would be hard to start over again and try to make a career out of comic book, artists. So I stuck with animation. Although Darwin, who came by, around that time, he definitely got into animation, but he did transition pretty well to comic books and became a legend over there. So,
well, I think we're all pretty happy with the way things went, Butch. I can't imagine it without you these days.
Oh, all right, great, thanks.
So,
hey, KJ, we got a wrap on this one.
You got it.
All
Yeah,
right.
I was actually getting ready to. So, Butch, I'm going to let you go, and thank you so much for spending a little time with us here at Geek Vibes Nation.
No problem. I wish it could be more, but I'm glad you got what you needed.
Same here. Take care.
Awesome.
You too.
Take care, KJ.
Bye-bye.